Hello dear student, this is your Anil sir and you are on the platform of Anil Physics Guru. As you know that motion is an integral part of our life, so let's start this video with the motion. Dear student, what is motion? Yes, when an object is said to be in motion if its position changes continuously with respect to a fixed observer or a reference point called origin. It means that motion is the change in position of a body with time. So, motion can be described in terms of distance moved or displacement moved. This distance and displacement we will discuss in the further video. One thing more student, this motion is relative in nature because the motion is always described relative to a fixed person or a fixed position or a fixed reference frame. With the concept of motion, one thing also arises, that what is rest? This rest is the condition of no displacement or no position change on when the object is moving from one place to another place. If there is no distance, there is no displacement within a certain time, within a reference frame, we can say that object is in rest condition. Now, what is quantity? So, quantity is anything which is quantitatively measured is termed as physical quantity. So, for the physical quantity, it has the components, numerical component, unit of measurement and direction in the space if it is required. On this basis, we have two quantities. First is scalar quantity and second one is vector quantity. In the first, scalar quantities are those quantities which having only magnitude. Only magnitude, and vector having magnitude plus direction. It means that scalar quantities are those quantities which have only magnitude and vector quantities are those quantities which have magnitude and direction both. And one thing more student, scalar quantity can be added or subtracted as according to the arithmetic rule, but vector quantity cannot be added or subtracted as according to the arithmetic rule. Scalar can be added arithmetic rule, can be added by arithmetic rule, but vector cannot added or subtracted by arithmetic rules. And one thing, example of scalar quantities are distance, speed, time. Examples are distance, speed and time. As compared to this, example of vector quantities are displacement, velocity and force. Yes. Hope the concept of scalar quantity and vector quantity for you are clear. So moving to our next topic, that is distance and displacement. So, dear student, moving to the topic of distance and displacement. When a body moves from one place to another place, or it changes its position from one point to the another point, it moves in several directions. So, the distance is the actual path of the motion and displacement is the shortest path, or we can say the shortest distance of the motion. Let's discuss these 2 points as a comparative view. So first thing, distance is the actual path. Distance is the actual path of the motion, but the displacement is the shortest path or shortest distance. Yes, distance is the actual path of the motion, but the displacement is the shortest distance or the shortest path of the motion. Second point is, distance is a scalar quantity. It is a scalar quantity because it has only magnitude, but displacement has a vector quantity due to it has both magnitude and direction. Third point is, distance is always greater or equal to the displacement. But displacement cannot be greater than the distance. And the fourth point is, distance is always positive. And one thing more, distance can be only positive, but displacement can be positive, negative, as well as it will be zero. Positive, negative, or it can be zero. So these are the distance and displacement characteristics as comparatively both. Now next topic we are going to discuss, that is uniform and non-uniform motion. So one side is uniform motion and non-uniform motion. If a moving body can travel equal distance in equal time interval, means equal distance in equal time, this kind of motion is called uniform motion. But if a body travels unequal distance in equal time, is known as non-uniform motion. As example, if a student travels 5 meters in first second, and again 5 meter in second and again 5 meter in third second. So you can see that equal distance is traveled in the equal time interval. But in the non-uniform motion, example is 5 meter in first second, 4 meter in second, and maybe it will be 6 meter in third second. So here you can see that this is example of uniform motion and it is the example of non-uniform motion. Next topic is speed. So by the definition, what is the speed? Speed of the body can be explained as the distance traveled by a body in unit time. So the formula of speed will be speed is equal to distance traveled upon time taken. You can see speed is equal to distance upon time, and the SI unit of speed is meter per second. So unit is meter per second, or you can say meter. And yes, as you know students, speed has only magnitude, there is no direction. So speed is a scalar quantity. Several times we have to calculate the speed in kilometer per hour, or sometimes we have to calculate the speed in meter per second. For the easiness, I am giving a equation for converting a speed from kilometer per hour to meter per second. If we have to convert kilometer per hour into meter per second, we have to multiply it by 5 upon 18, and vice versa. If we have to convert meter per second into kilometer per hour, we have to multiply by 18 upon 5. So hope these points are clear. And one thing more, what is average speed? So average speed is total distance upon total time taken. Sometimes in the numerical question it is asked that what is average speed. So average speed is total distance upon total time, and if you have to change the speed from kilometer per hour to meter per second, or meter per second to kilometer per hour, we can use this. So moving to the next topic, that is velocity. Moving towards our next topic, that is velocity. So dear student, you know that the rate of motion of a body is more meaningful if we specify its direction of motion along with the speed. So the quantity which specifies both the direction of the motion and speed is velocity. So velocity is what? Velocity is the ratio of displacement to the time taken. So velocity is equal to displacement upon time taken. And yes, since velocity has the magnitude and direction both, so it is a vector quantity. Sometimes in equation we have to calculate the average velocity. So the velocity which is can be calculated as average. So formula is average velocity is total distance upon total time, or also we can say that it is V average is equal to total distance, we can say S upon total distance time. But there is one more formula for the average velocity, is average velocity is also known as initial velocity plus final velocity upon 2. So formula will be V average means velocity average is initial velocity, and initial velocity we can say u, and final velocity we can say v by 2. So the formula will be v plus u by 2. Velocity of the object can be positive, negative, or it can be 0 also. But speed cannot be 0 or cannot be negative. So this is the basic difference between the 2 points. The next quantity is acceleration. So if the quantity which specifies changes in velocity is known as acceleration, or we can say the rate of change in velocity with respect to time is called acceleration, or acceleration formula will be change in velocity upon time. If we can calculate the change in velocity, so we know that there are two types of velocity. First is initial velocity and second is final velocity. So when we take the difference between final velocity to the initial velocity, this is known as change in velocity. So formula will be acceleration is noted by A, and the formula final velocity minus initial velocity upon time. So the formula will be A is equal to V minus U by T. So this is the formula of acceleration. The SI unit of acceleration is meter per second square. Meter per second square. One case also we have to notice: if initial velocity is greater than the final velocity, it means that it is the case of retardation, or the object is stopping or reducing its velocity, its case of retardation. But if the initial velocity is lesser than the final velocity, it means that gradually the velocity increases. It is known as acceleration. Sometimes some students or some teachers say that retardation is negative acceleration and acceleration is positive acceleration. Hope these points and all the quantities are clear to you. So जाने से पहले, इस वीडियो को एंड करने से पहले, I request you to please subscribe our channel, that is Anil Physics Guru. Like this, and also you can comment on the figure in this video, so I can motivate myself and create some amazing videos to you. So तब तक के लिए stay safe, be happy, continue your studies.